Yeah, what's going on, everybody? It's yours truly, the Ace, back with another Behind the Teens video, episode 7. We are running through these episodes. Today's episode, we have the San Francisco 49ers with a huge supporter of the channel, my man, Aaron Jacobs. How you doing, my guy?
I'm doing well. Excited. I would say the NFL is my number one sport, right next to baseball. But love talking about my Niners. Love talking about my Niners.
Okay, like I said, Aaron is a huge supporter of the channel. He constantly comes into every Yankee stream I do. He's part of my fantasy team as well, man. So as soon as I was like, I'm doing the behind the teams, I got to get the 49ers on here. You were on the list. I just wanted to make sure I spaced the good teams out. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to put all the good teams, you know what I'm saying, in the beginning or in the end, but I feel like this is a perfect time, man.
Perfect time. Definitely
Yeah,
excited.
man.
Been listening to the podcast. Been watching the training camps. Day 4. The pads came on today for the Niners. So definitely about to see who stands out and see what the new draft picks, what they're all about.
Okay. So let's get right into it. 2022 season, you guys finished at 13-4, first in the West,
Yep.
but an NFC championship loss to the
With the
Philadelphia
asterisk,
Eagles.
with the big
With
asterisk.
the asterisk, an asterisk. So all you Eagles fans out there, there's an asterisk on
There's an
there.
asterisk to that game, but
So
they
let's talk
deserve
about
it.
the 2022 season. What were your thoughts overall?
So going into it, it was all about Trey Lance. Obviously, he was the number one QB. Purdy was nowhere near on our list. It was Trey Lance. Obviously, we had the storyline of Garoppolo. Not one. They didn't want him on the team. He wasn't even practicing, going through OTAs, and then all of a sudden, right before the season starts, they're saying, "Hey, we signed him. He's going to be our quarterback too." So going into the season, that Bears game, it was rainy. Um, wasn't very after watching that game. I was kind of like, all right, this team is really not based off how they're using Trey Lance as a running back instead of a quarterback. Wasn't very optimistic about where we would do, especially with supposedly the Rams being good that year, um, and then obviously them not being. But the Rams are scheduled to be good. And the rest of the teams in the NFC, I was like, not so optimistic. But it's the 49ers. I trust my organization. um, I trust Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, and so I think I kind of had high expectations with Trey up until that first game, and I was like, okay, I had to take a couple of steps back and say we're going to there's going to be some stumbling blocks. He doesn't have enough experience, um, so definitely going to be some bumps in the road. The next game comes, and then he gets hurt, and then Garoppolo steps in, and the team seemed even just their whole body language changed. It was like, hey, we trust this guy, and so I think we lost. I think we played when he stepped in. I want to say it was versus Kansas City Chiefs. It was either one of those two games. It was Kansas City Chiefs were in there and they blew us out. It wasn't even close. Um, but still, there was some positive. You saw some positivity trending, and so I started getting a little bit more excited. And then when um, Garoppolo went down and Purdy stepped in, when I don't know what it was, but something about that guy when he stepped on the field, the confidence and swag that he had, even though he was the last pick in the draft,
Mr.
it
Irrelevant.
just it just really resonated with the fan base. It resonated with the media. Like you just could not help but root for this guy. He was fearless. I mean, he doesn't have all the measurables that you would say, like the tall, big, um, but the confidence and the throw, and he just made our offense totally look legit.
Yeah.
For the first time, he was using weapons. Um, at that time, he had just gotten Christian McCaffrey, the blockbuster trade, which was he was kind of learning the offense. But those two together, Kittle started really coming on. Debo was really a non-factor all of last year. He was more of I would say, decoy more than anything because he was just out of shape from all his off-season holdout stuff. He just really was never, and he's always Debo, so people had to somewhat a game plan versus him. But honestly, realistically, he was not even a factor last year. Um, but it just became the Kittle show. It became Brandon Ayuk, and CMC just came in there and just totally changed our offense. Purdy gave us that play action pass that Garoppolo had at some point still in his. I mean, Garoppolo gave people hate on Garoppolo. I was one of the biggest ones just because the crunch time, he always folded in the playoffs when it matters. So I was not a huge Garoppolo fan, but you have to, as if you look at it from a true, you can't deny the numbers. It's kind of like the LeBron effect. You can hate on him all you want, but the numbers don't lie. And so he was a winner. Some could say it might have been because of the defense. Some could say it might have been because of the pieces around him. But overall, the team just hit a spark, and it felt like it was our year. It felt like it was like a script written by the NFL of this Mr. Irrelevant, never happened before, never has, a rookie ever taken a team to the Super Bowl. It felt like it was our year. And when we beat the Cowboys, it just felt that game. I mean, I was so confident going to that Eagles game. I knew what the Eagles represented, and they had been a beast all year. I knew it was not going to be easy, especially playing them at home. But we just had a confidence, and then 2 plays into, I had that first moment of, here's the same old 49ers when they didn't challenge that play, when it was obviously that he didn't catch the ball.
Devontae Smith.
Smith.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, here we go. That was kind of like that omen, like, oh crap, 49ers doing 49ers. And then from there, obviously, we all know what happened. None of us fans want to talk about it.
Well, we got to talk about it. So
Yeah.
Brock Purdy gets injured.
Yes.
What were your thoughts when that happened?
I was in shock. Like, my first initial reaction was, hey, he's going to go in there. They're going to work on him, give him he'll be back after halftime.
Yeah.
And he just kept standing there on the sideline. Like, he wasn't like in the locker room. He was just standing there. And of course, all the reports are coming back saying Josh Johnson comes out. All the reports are saying he can't throw, that he's, in pain. And so I was just sitting there like, okay, at some point he's going to come back and we'll be all right. And then when Josh Johnson went down, I was like, okay. And then Purdy comes back and he literally couldn't throw. Like, he couldn't throw more than 5 or 10 yards. And that's when we held, I think, up to halftime. We were only down by like 7 at halftime, 7 or 3. So we were in the game, and in the third quarter, basically they stacked the box on us, and it's like, you're not running on us. And so
they
of course,
that's
said,
what you should do.
And so that's when, the reality of a season that has so much promise, has so much for the first time. You're like, this is finally we have offense and defense clicking. Since maybe I would say that 2019 team.
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely something that is regretful. It's very. I really, really, really would love to have known. And I think the Eagles were the better team. If somebody put a gun to my face, I'm always going to pick my team. But if somebody was like, hey, I'm gonna put a gun. If you're under oath and you're in court and you say and you have to tell the truth, I would say reluctantly that the Eagles were probably the better team, but
that's debatable.
I'm still I'm biased. I can't. So I'm very biased.
Yeah.
I think that we should have beat them.
Yeah, that's debatable because like you guys have a good overall team in general, and just adding Christian McCaffrey, you guys are obviously in win now mode. Brock Purdy was a surprise that no one saw coming. He played. Right. He didn't. So this is the thing. He didn't just play well enough to just not give you guys he didn't game manage. He didn't play not to lose. He actually won you guys games. And then the acquisition of Christian McCaffrey was a great move. You know what I'm saying? Because it solidified the team is ready to win now. And I feel like if Brock Purdy would have been healthy, you guys could have had a good shot against the Eagles. I think you guys matched up very well against them. And your front four can provide a lot of pressure. They have who's your cornerback? I want to say
Travarius Mooney Ward. And then we got Diamond Lenore.
It's Ward. I like Ward. Ward is nice. Every time I watch him, like when he's on primetime games, he stands out. Right. You know what I'm saying? So Ward is very nice. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like you guys do got a good team overall, and I would have gave you guys a good shot at, beating the Eagles, but then probably losing to San Francisco. I'm probably losing to Kansas City.
Oh yeah, that's a different beast all in itself.
Yeah, because then
Andy Reid's he's a one of a kind guy, one of a kind of coach.
Yeah, Pat Mahomes is him. He's that guy.
Yes.
So yeah. So all right. So your season ended. Like I said, with the bust right there. Unfortunately, it's a very rare injury for Brock Purdy. A baseball type injury is what they were saying. You know what I'm saying? Right. So what's actually the update on him? He's all good to go, right?
He's fully cleared. So they're doing basically like a 2 on, 2 1 off, 2 on, and then like 3 off type, something like some weird program. It's part of his recovery. Something they said they were going to do no matter how he feels. And it's really, they want to see him, see if there's any setbacks. So he threw day one, or he do day 2 and day 3. He did not throw yesterday. They actually split the reps between Darnold and Trey. So he should be throwing again today with the pads for the first time with pads today. So he should be throwing back today.
Okay. So that's the 2022 season. So going into the off season, you know what I'm saying? What were your biggest needs in the off season? And do you feel like the 49ers addressed that via the draft and free agency? Now, I know you guys didn't have a lot of draft picks because you guys kind of are in the Rams state of mind where you're selling the draft picks for the team to get better. But what do you feel like they accomplished during the offseason? What was their biggest need?
So going into the offseason, I would say everybody knew we were losing McGlinchey. He was our right tackle. We were losing our kicker. Not necessarily because that he was money. Like he was, if you look at his statistics, our kicker was money in the playoffs. He never missed a kick. But I think that they really wanted to go a different direction because of his age. And so that was kind of the two things was obviously quarterback with Purdy being hurt at the time, not knowing how Trey's just coming back from injury.
Yeah.
Not sure Garoppolo.
And they added Darnold.
Want him back.
Yeah.
Shanahan's always had Shanahan. One thing about him, there's certain he loves certain quarterbacks based on type, and so there's certain ones he just falls in love with. Kirk Cousins is another one that he's just infatuated with. Sam Darnold was one where since the draft he goes into like I like tunnel vision and just there's certain quarterbacks that he just loves. And Sam Darnold was one that was in that category of one where he's always liked. And so he jumped at the opportunity. Shanahan has a philosophy of it's not about who's playing quarterback. It's my scheme.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and he's a scheme fit. Yeah.
Yes. And unfortunately for him, he does not, which is why the 49ers make such bad decisions with quarterbacks. He doesn't have a good eye for quarterbacks because he passed up Deshaun Watson. He passed up Patrick Mahomes. He passed up all these Hall of Fame. 49ers passed up Rodgers. I mean, he wasn't there, obviously, but the 49ers have a history of passing up game-changing QBs. But in his mind, Shanahan has a philosophy of it's not the QB that makes the team. We want
the system makes the quarterback.
It's me. And so going into the offseason, they basically said we don't want to pay a QB because we want to keep our core. So we want to keep our defense. We want to keep our offense. And so they were looking for – that's the reason why they draft rookies, QBs, and try to keep them – as long as they're under that rookie contract, we can pay for someone like a Hargrave who came in, who was a big offseason addition. We can pay for him. Bosa's going up for his big contract extension. So they already knew, like, listen, we have all these big name guys who we want to give them that money. And as long as we have a QB who can manage the game, doesn't turn the ball over, and can maybe somewhat athletically with Trey was like, hey, he can get us out of some with his athleticism and scramble. Kind of the Russell Wilson effect. That's kind of why we drafted him, was because we saw Russell Wilson all these years and saw that even when our greatest defense had him out of the pocket. Once he got out that pocket, if we didn't contain him, he was dangerous.
Yeah.
And so that was why we drafted Trey Lance. But Shanahan's always been more of a pocket quarterback type guy, which is why everybody else who's been on the team has pretty much been a pocket QB. Quick release, snap, throw. And so that was something that going into 2023, offensive line, they did not want to spend any money on our O-line for some reason. I don't agree with that philosophy. All the great teams, Eagles, Chiefs, Bengals, Cowboys, they all have great lines.
Yeah.
They spend money on their line. They protect the QB. We have a great left side with Trent Williams, Hall of Fame, definitely probably the best that's ever played that position. The left side is solid. We have some decent guards, but that right tackle, and our tight end on that side is why the Eagles blitzed that side and twice took both our quarterbacks out, was because we're trying to put a tight end up against a all-star defensive line, defensive tackle, and have a tight end go over there and chip to help the right tackle out, and it's not great. I mean, most of the year it worked, but when it counted, team scheme, they know our weaknesses, and they exploit it.
Yeah.
We did not address it at all, other than we had some internal guys from last year who we drafted that basically they said we're going to move those guys. We've been keeping them on the bench.
But that's how it should be, though. You should elevate guys because, especially, to learn the system and have guys that already know the system is better than bringing in guys to have to teach them the system. You know what I'm saying? To elevate those guys, because then you get them. First things first, they're, like I said, you get them for a hell of a lot cheaper. You know what I'm saying? Than bringing in guys, because chances are they're not going to be overpaid if they're already in your system. And I feel like if the system works, promote guys that do know, because one thing, you guys have a good zone run scheme.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Where guys move on like the power sets and stuff like that. And they find a hat, they put a hat to a hat, and that's how you get guys to the second level. Then when you add a guy like Christian McCaffrey, who this is going to be his first full season in San Francisco, he can really do some damage. And like I said, if I had number one overall pick in fantasy, I don't see why it wouldn't be Christian McCaffrey with the workload that he gets every year with this system. It's like he's a perfect fit. So it was a great signing.
Right.
So
I will tell you. I will tell you. I won't spoil because I know we're going to talk about the surprise, but there's a running back. It's going to be a sleeper this year for our team.
On your team?
Yes, absolutely.
But
absolutely.
But with Christian McCaffrey, it's like, if we're talking about fantasy, he's going to get so much of a workload.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He's going to. So our team is all about script, and so Shanahan has basically a 30-play script. The first 30 plays of the game are scripted.
Yeah.
Roughly.
And I like that. I'm with that as that's good. And then you could make your adjustments at halftime. That's why you guys ended up with 13 wins last year.
Yep. So I mean, fortunately, most of the scripted runs, and if you notice in the games last year, CMC had them. But when it closed, there was a certain guy they called on.
Yeah.
For closing.
Okay. So going into 2023 season, see, this is going to be tough, because I usually say, like, give me a standout player that needs to do well, but you guys have so many weapons.
But there's only if you are a true 49er fan, there's only one. If you ask any true fan who's going to be the next standout, there's only one name that could possibly be
Brock Purdy.
No.
Who? Brandon
Aiyuk.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but the thing about it is you guys have so many weapons with Kittle. Like Kittle, Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't utilize Kittle the way that Brock Purdy did.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you even saw those numbers when Brock Purdy was in. Those numbers for Kittle went up because he was able to go down the field more. Jimmy Garoppolo's more of a game manager. Couldn't really throw it down the field like that. So it's like the weapons that you guys have with Debo on the outside, who can be used in the backfield as well. Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Aiyuk could beat you over the top. Kittle. It's just like, the only player that I'm going to say that has to stand out is Brock Purdy. He has to duplicate the success that he had last year for you guys to be successful.
But history tells you with our team, Brock Purdy is going to get hurt again. Every season with Shanahan, the way that he uses our quarterback is very reckless. He does a lot of blind, play action, blind, just a blind play action. Um, he does a lot of um, running the quarterbacks through the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and our quarterbacks don't have a history of getting down.
Yeah.
And so at some point, Trey and Purdy, the thing about him is the rest of the NFL had a whole season or a whole off season to watch all his tapes
Oh
and,
yeah,
to,
yeah,
and watch all his tendencies.
yeah.
And the only thing that Purdy's been able to do is rehab. So he
Yeah.
has not been able to get better.
Mm-hmm.
So in reality, he's going to use pretty much the same instincts that he had last season. And I think defenses are going to know that he likes to roll out to his left. He likes to spin away towards his left, like different things like that he I started picking up on it. And so defensive coordinators, they're going to be all over that.
Yeah.
And we just have a history of our quarterback. Not necessarily, I'm not saying like season ending like that, but he's going to be out some bruised rib or something like that. So at some point, that's the reason why right now we have 4 QBs on our roster.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Darnold, we have Trey, we have obviously Purdy, and then Brandon Allen is somebody also who we have. And they're really talking about keeping up to 3 on the main active roster,
Yeah,
and 1 on practice squad, possibly.
Yeah. So obviously Purdy's going to be our starter, is what you think?
Oh, he's already QB1.
Who's number 2?
QB1. So I would say as a fan, I think it's Trey, but Darnold is pushing him.
Yeah, Trey Lance is in bust territory. Like, it sucks to say he hasn't really gotten a fair chance, you know what I'm saying, with injuries, and then, obviously Purdy beating him out for the job. But the thing about it is you guys, you can't trade him because, you can trade him, but you're not going to get much for him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you're kind of stuck in that, no man's land with him.
Yeah, he's not. I wouldn't consider him a bust. I would just consider him not the right fit for what our scheme and culture was trying to do.
Yeah, I got you.
We did not have time for a project, and they knew right off from draft pick he didn't play because of the COVID. His senior or his junior year, he did not play at all. And then we knew that Garoppolo was going to be there his first year, so we knew we were going to play on that first year. We already automatically determined that he was going to sit out for that first year. Mm-hmm. And then when he got hurt the second, the team, our fan base, they want results and they want wins now. And if we really should have picked up Justin Fields, if what they were trying to make Trey Lance to be, they should have got Justin Fields. And they were going off based off his mind because he really scored off the charts on that test that they give QBs. And they really went off on what ifs. And I think Shanahan was going back into hit that pride mode that he has, that I make the QB and I can make him great.
Yeah.
He just didn't have the reps, and so the fan base the team was never really behind him because we had a lot of veterans on the team who want to win now. They don't want to wait for him to develop.
Yeah.
And so he was really a bad. If they had played him year 1, right when he got, and they fully committed to him, I think that by this time right now, it'll be a different story. But once they decided to hold on to Garoppolo, flirt with him a little bit, and then now Purdy's there, I wouldn't consider him a bust. I just consider him a bad investment and a bad, just bad choices led to where now our window is closing, and so we can't afford to wait for him to catch up. So we have to go on to option B.
Yeah. Who's your current favorite player on the 49ers?
I love Debo.
Debo's good, yeah. I like Bosa too.
Bosa too. But Fred Warner is probably one of my favorites.
Okay.
Just that he can cover anybody. The speed and the intensity that he plays, even in practice. If you watch this dude antagonizes our offense on practice. Like he calls them out. He's in their face. Even so much so last year that Brandon Ayuk and him almost got in a fist fight because Brandon got tired of it. He got tired of being bullied. But just that fire that he has, and then off the field, such a low key, quiet, just chill dude. Fred Warner is definitely one of my favorites.
Got you. Yeah, I like Kittle, and I like Nick Bosa as well. Like they're really good. So for fantasy purposes, who's gonna be the first 49er you take?
It definitely would be CMC or Debo.
You'd have to get like number 1 pick to get.
Well,
like,
Debo, Look, Debo came back in shape this year,
and
he made a full point of. I think Debo's going to have a good year. The problem is there's only one ball, and so like with so many options, it's the 49ers are a hard team to pick offensively because it depends on the quarterback and it depends on. So I would say CMC just because he's getting the ball handed off to him.
Of course, yeah. So good to know. As somebody who's playing against you in fantasy, you just gave away the secret. So good to know.
I'm just saying. That. I mean,
so all right. So what are your realistic expectations going into the 2023 season? That we'll get into the schedule.
Realistic, it is all about. So I would say this year is different. I would say because we have so many East Coast trips. We got the Jaguars, we got the Steelers, we got the Eagles.
Yeah, but usually, as a matter of fact, the West Coast teams, they usually don't do that bad coming over here. It's the other way around.
Right.
The East Coast teams go to the West Coast, it kind of screws them up.
Yeah, so like I said, I looked at the schedule. Now I can say best case scenario 13-4.
13-4 again.
Best case.
Okay, so obviously that's good enough for the playoffs. What are you predicting in the playoffs?
It's all about health. With the 49ers, it's as far as we know the coaching is going to be there. We know offensively we'll be okay. We have enough pieces even on our bench. Our defense is always going to be elite. Steve Wilks coming being our new defensive coordinator. The league is going to get a more aggressive man pressing defense. I would say our philosophy that we've had in the past has been a lot of zone coverage, and that is because of the pieces, the cornerbacks that we had with Sherman, with Ambry Thomas. They can't cover anybody. They couldn't cover the quality of wide receivers that we had in our division. They ate us up off the line. So we always had to play a lot of zone coverage because we just didn't have a big enough corner to keep up with a lot of the elite wide receivers. And that's the reason why people like A.J. Brown, Hopkins, and others really tore us up when we had to go man. Steve Wilks his history was a DB coach. So he's really, really, really been focusing on a lot of our drafts and a lot of our free agent pickups have been a different type of cornerback. And that's a physical, long arm ball hawks who play the ball in the air. And it's not about the zone coverage. It's going to be more about we know that our front seven are going to beat your offensive line. And we're going to make y'all hold the ball and hopefully hold the ball and throw it. And our cornerbacks are going to be there versus the other philosophy of hoping that Bosa and Armstead get there to make a sack before y'all set y'all play up.
Yeah. I definitely think you guys are a Super Bowl contender. You know what I'm saying? If you got the first Super Bowl contender I brought on the channel that I can, like, when people say, this team is equipped to win now, I'm kind of just like, there are other, the other 6 episodes, people, give me their realistic expectations, and they've been realistic. But the 49ers have a legit chance. You know what I'm saying? I definitely think they're one of maybe about 4 or 5 teams that actually have a legit shot at winning a Super Bowl if healthy and if everything tends to, I'm not going to say break their way, just if they're healthy enough and if they get hot at the right time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So 13-4, you know what I'm saying, is what you're saying. So let's go ahead and go over the schedule. So I'm gonna keep track down here. We're gonna talk about it. So week 1 at Pittsburgh, starting on the road. What do you got that?
Definitely a W.
Definitely a W.
Yeah,
Definitely a W.
This is kind of like one of those mixed games because 49ers always start every year. They start off slow, and starting off on the road, I would say my gut tells me that this is a game that they could lose.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it depends on. Okay, this might be like maybe if Purdy comes out rusty. You know what I'm saying? Possibly, but I still think your team overall is better than their team. Like,
right.
Obviously, Watt is a problem. You're going to have to make sure you guard him, especially with Purdy coming back. But, you guys have Bosa on the other end, and you guys, I think, I could see you guys taking this victory.
Yeah, I think that if I'm confident in our defense, I think that going up against Pickett and that team offensively, Najee Harris, I think that our defense will be okay. I'm not worried about them. It's really going to be how rusty is Brock Purdy, but I think even with a rusty Brock Purdy, there's enough pieces on our team with CMC and a healthy Debo that we will be okay.
I agree. Week 2 at the Rams. So you're starting off 2 games in a row.
Definitely 2 in a row. The Rams have basically become the New York Mets. They blew up their team.
Yeah, 2 games in a row. So I see you guys getting your first loss here against the Giants. What do you think?
Debatable.
on prime time?
This is our prime time. It's our home game. It would not shock me if we lost. I don't think we will, in my opinion.
Okay, so 3-0.
I do. I think we're 3-0.
It's gonna be a tough game. It's going to be a smash mouth game. I know you'll be tuning in when I call the live play-by-play.
Absolutely.
Giants are much improved from what I'm seeing in camp. We're killing it, but we're going on the West Coast, which I think we have 2 West Coast trips, 2 games back-to-back, and we're staying out there. We're going against Carolina, the Cardinals, and then you guys. So, and then you guys
this is a Thursday game. You got to understand. Y'all
short week.
It's a short week.
Same with you guys. You guys just played on Sunday, too.
Right, but we're already on the West Coast.
You're already on the West. No, we'll be on the West Coast too.
Oh, y'all on the West Coast?
Yeah, because I think our second game is against the Cardinals, so we'll be on the West Coast. So they've already said. Let me just check that real quick because I just want to make sure. I could have swore they've already scheduled the fact that they're going to stay out there. Yeah, week 2 against the Cardinals. They have already said that they're going to be staying out there. They're not even going to come back home. So that can go to anybody. So
yeah. And
then you guys are at home versus the Cardinals. So you got 3-0 so far. What do you got against the Cardinals?
4-0 because
4-0.
They blew their team up too.
Okay, Dallas Cowboys. I'm hoping this is a victory for you guys.
I think I have this as a loss.
Do you?
I do. No, actually, it's a win. I had this as a win.
You had this as a win.
Yes, because it's a rivalry game.
Okay.
And I think that
you guys are starting to become a big rival with them. Mm-hmm.
It is, and it's I believe this is a Sunday night football game. So I'm pretty confident that with it being such a late game, I think we'll be okay. And we have 10 days to prepare for them, unlike them who has 7 days to prepare for us.
Mm-hmm. You only have a week to prepare because you played that previous Sunday. So.
Oh well, that's true. Okay.
Yeah, both of you guys played a previous Sunday.
Yeah, I say we're 5-0.
You have 10 days to prepare for the Cardinals. Yeah, because after you play a Thursday night game. So
yeah.
All right, so that's 5-0. Browns at.
I had this as our first loss.
You have that's gonna be shocker.
Yeah,
so maybe like a little trap game.
I believe so. I believe that they're gonna be focused on the Vikings. I think that this is an away game. And I really think that this is probably, and I would say if I had to guess, I would pick the win, but this will be my first. I could see the team with the travel, and come off a Sunday night game. I could see this being a trap game.
Yeah, okay. Then you go to Minnesota.
A win because we have, for some reason, I don't know what it is. We have Kirk Cousins' number. We always check him.
Then you have a possible Super Bowl matchup.
Right.
And the Bengals versus the 49ers. And
this right here. So this is kind of my interchangeable losses. So I could say either the Browns or the Bengals are going to be one of the two that I could see losing. I can have this game right here. I think they're going to be really up for this game. Last time we played them, they were pretty much the first time we played them, we beat the brakes off them. The second time we had to come back in overtime and beat them. But I would say this one, I believe we're at home for this game. So I think that we're gonna win this one.
Okay, so that puts you at 7-1. Then you have a bye week in week 9. Then you're going against coming out the bye week. You're traveling to Jacksonville.
Right. I have a win for I mean, that team is up and coming, and I think they're going to be good.
Yeah, but I don't think they're there yet.
Yeah, I don't think that they're at our caliber yet.
Yeah, so 8-1. Okay, then Tampa.
I mean, honestly, you could put us at 7-2 because I really think that
which one?
The Bengals is going to be tough.
Okay, so
I think I had the Browns and the Bengals. I have those as a loss.
Got you. So Tampa, they're kind of just in no man's land. Like they don't know what they want to do. So that's 8-2. Then you go against Seattle.
At Seattle, I have a loss.
Now, is this your first?
Yeah,
no. It's not. It's your first time playing them. Yeah, but not your first
division. We're playing them at Seattle.
So you got this loss. So that's 8-3 already. Then you're going against the Philadelphia Eagles. A little bit of rematch right there at Philadelphia.
I have that as a loss.
You have that as a loss, so that's 8-4.
Well, actually, I'm trying to think about it. I think that I would say I have it as a loss and looking at it, but I will say this with the caveat that there's going to be so much anger in that game. That game was going to be a bloody because there's been so much trash talk between the Eagles players and calling out Debo and other and like Kittle for whining about saying that we wish that y'all didn't really beat us, and so I that's going to be a game that's going to be a fun game to watch.
So you got
that better be televised, but I have that as a loss.
Yeah, that's a loss. So that puts you at 8-4. So to stay on your 13, you got yourself winning out, huh?
Oh, we got the rest of the games we got.
So Seattle taking a W.
We'll win Seattle at home. We usually split with Seattle. They usually beat us one, and we beat them one.
Okay, then Arizona again the final time.
We'll win that.
So that puts you at 10-4. Then Washington Commanders.
Oh, you got Baltimore. You missed Baltimore.
Oh, Baltimore. Yeah. I skipped past it. Baltimore.
I have that as a win.
Okay, so 11-4. Washington.
Yeah.
Okay, which the Giants might need you to beat, depending on playoff stuff, and then you're going against the Rams, who at this point, who knows? Week 18 is always tough because you don't know who's sitting, you don't know what who.
Rams
suck.
Rams
done.
The Rams suck. I don't. I mean, unless they. I mean, they traded away Jalen Ramsey. They traded away. They lost. Seahawks picked up. Who was their big linebacker they had from the Seahawks, but now he went back. Hall of Famer. Can't think of who it was, but
you gotta talk about
he was a Legion of Boom for many, many years, and then
Bobby Wagner.
Wagner, so
Bobby
Wagner went back to Seattle.
Yeah.
He's not even with the Rams anymore. They lost they have, I guess, Stafford. I guess he's coming back. I don't know if he's still hurt or not, but
yeah. Well, their team really got derailed by injuries last year because they had just come off, a Super Bowl and they got derailed by injuries. So I think they'll come back a little bit, looking for a vengeance.
They're gonna be better this year. So. They're just not. They put all their stock in that Super Bowl run.
Yeah, of course. They kind of like what you guys are kind of doing. You guys are kind of putting your stock.
That's the thing. That's I would say that's the biggest frustration with the 49ers. We're not. They don't.
Mm-hmm.
They're similar to, I would say. So I hear you talk about how Steinbrenner a lot and how they want to make money.
Yeah.
The old George Seifert and that team and the old owners went all in. That's the reason why we picked up Dion in '95. Even though he only had him for like 1 year, they went out and picked up the elite players to win it. The Super Bowl was number one. I don't get that same vibe from the coaches up. They're about being relevant, and they're about having sustainable relevancy. So as long as we have a shot at being in the Super Bowl and making the playoffs every year, that's more important to them than winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like they won't go all in and blow the team up to win. Like we've had opportunities with free agents, with Tom Brady, to go all in and win it, and they always shy away from that. They'll do just the bare minimum with the offensive line, bare minimum with. They don't go all in with QB. They'll get, somebody who's good but not
Mhm.
great.
Yeah. So we'll see. Like I said, this is actually running to be the longest episode of Behind the Teams. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had a great time, you know what I'm saying, diving in. I barely did any talking. I just left it all up to you, man. And this is the first episode where I'm just kind of sitting back and just enjoying chilling. And I look forward to that week 3 matchup, Giants versus 49ers.
It's gonna be dope. It's gonna be epic.
I just want to see where we measure up against Super Bowl caliber team, and to see if the Giants are up for the challenge. And we'll see. So I know you'll be in the live and stuff
absolutely.
like that. And next time we'll probably see you. Will probably be fantasy. I'm going to be doing the fantasy on this channel, and just so everybody could just come in and talk their shit, and we'll just have a good time together, and it's going to be dope.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just say this in closing: watch Jordan Mason. That's a name. Watch out for Jordan Mason.
Okay, noted. You heard that. So if it doesn't work out, come back on this post and be like, Aaron, you were wrong.
Jordan
just
Mason,
like you're always wrong about your Mets.
Sleeper.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Tell him he was wrong, like he was wrong about his Mets. You know what I'm saying? So, but look, man, anywhere they can find you at, man. What do you got going on? Anything?
No, just look. I like to be in the shadows, support my brothers, and it's not my thing to be out there. I just I'm a huge fan of sports in general, and so I'm enjoying just supporting you guys, letting y'all guys do all the hard work. I'm just here to support you guys.
Yeah, man. I gotta admit, Aaron is a very silent supporter. He'll come in every video, he'll like every video, he'll comment on everything, whether it's sports, movies, baseball. But it's good to have you on, man. I'm glad I finally got to get you on. We've been talking about it for a minute. Like I said, just need to space out some of the good teams, and I definitely didn't want to record it super early and then something happened and then not be able to cover it. You know what I'm saying? Because I got bitten in the ass with that with Deshaun, with D-Hop. Because I had just recorded, who was it? A Patriots fan. And we were talking about Hopkins really wanted to go to the Patriots. Then the very next day, it broke that he was with the Titans. I'm like, I had to put a little disclaimer on there. Like, this video was made before that. So it happens.
Yeah,
but everybody knows how it get done. I try to keep it as transparent with you guys as possible, man. But look, man, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. And I'll probably see you tonight in the next Yankee stream.
Oh, absolutely. I'll be there talking trash.
Yeah, man. You always do, man. And I expect nothing less from you. And I wouldn't have it any other way, man. But look, man, if you guys have been watching all this time, man, you guys are the best. I appreciate each and every one of you for watching this video and supporting all these Behind the Teams videos. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe to the Ace Avenue for more content like this. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning into the Ace Avenue. I am yours truly, the Ace. Adios.